Let's be honest with each other for a moment. How many times have you set a New Year's resolution and been absolutely fired up with motivation? This year, I'm going to read 50 books. This year, I'll definitely work out 5 times a week. I'm going to save 30% of my income. You buy new gym clothes, download a dozen habit tracking apps, and tell the whole world about your ironclad determination. The first week, everything is amazing. The second week, things get a little shaky. And then, just a month later, those brand new running shoes are sitting untouched in the corner. The book you started is still stuck on page 27. And the promise of a fit body, a sharp mind, and a healthy savings account seems to have vanished into thin air. And when that happens, what do? We blame ourselves. I guess I'm not disciplined enough. My willpower is just too weak. I'm such a failure. I never stick to anything. We sink into a feeling of guilt and helplessness, branding ourselves as someone who lacks inner strength. This vicious cycle repeats itself, chipping away at our self-confidence and making us more and more afraid to set new goals. But what if I told you that all of those failures, perhaps, are not entirely your fault? What if I told you that the ultimate weapon you've always believed in, your willpower, is actually a fragile and ineffective strategy? What if there's another invisible force, a silent giant that's directing your behavior every single day without you even realizing it? This is the profound wake-up call that author and renowned American psychologist Dr. Benjamin Hardy gives us in his bombshell book, Willpower Doesn't Work. In today's video, we won't just find out why willpower betrays you. More importantly, we're going to uncover who this real enemy is and how you can turn that enemy into your greatest ally on the journey to conquering any goal in your life. So get comfortable, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at success and failure forever. So, the first big question we need to answer is this: why is willpower, the very quality we praise as the gold standard of successful people, considered ineffective by Benjamin Hardy? To understand this, we need to look at a simple truth. When do you actually need to use willpower? Only when there's a civil war raging inside of you. That's right. It's a constant internal battle. Picture this. One part of you desperately wants a fit, healthy body. Another part is screaming for that rich, creamy tiramisu or that sugary bubble tea that's calling your name. One part of you craves career advancement, wanting to learn a new skill to get ahead. Another part just wants to melt into the sofa and mindlessly scroll through social media after a long day at work. One part wants to save money for the future, and another is tempted by the flash sales popping up on every shopping app. Sound familiar? That is the battlefield inside each of us, and willpower, in this context, is like an exhausted soldier straining to keep the two warring factions from destroying each other. The author makes a powerful statement. Willpower is for people who haven't truly decided what they want. Or, more accurately, it's for people whose desires are in conflict with each other. When you have to force yourself to do something, it isn't a sign of strength. It's a sign of internal conflict. And this struggle, day after day, doesn't just drain your energy, it causes something incredibly dangerous: chronic stress. Every time you say no to a cookie, you use up a little bit of willpower. Every time you drag yourself to the gym, instead of going home, you burn a little more. Just like a phone battery, our willpower is a finite resource. If you use it for one thing, you won't have enough left for something else. Professor Roy Baumeister, one of the world's leading psychologists on willpower, proved this through a series of experiments. He calls it ego depletion. In his classic study, he brought 2 groups of people into a room that smelled of delicious, freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. The first group was allowed to eat the cookies. The second, poorer group was only allowed to eat radishes and had to use their willpower to resist the temptation of the cookies. Afterwards, both groups were given an impossible puzzle to solve. They didn't know it was impossible. The results? The group that got to eat cookies persisted for an average of 20 minutes, and the group that had to use their willpower to eat radishes, they gave up after just 8 minutes. Their willpower battery had been completely drained by resisting the cookies, so they had nothing left to face the next challenge. What does this tell us? Living on willpower is like driving a car that's almost out of gas. You can try to coast for a few more miles, but eventually, you're guaranteed to end up stranded and helpless on the side of the road. And this problem is even worse in our modern world. Our parents and grandparents lived in a completely different environment. They did manual labor, ate seasonal food, went to bed when it got dark, and woke up with the sun. And us, we're living in a technological cage. We're surrounded by countless things that are designed to be addictive. The little red notification bubbles on our phones, the infinite scroll feeds on social media, and the processed foods packed with sugar and additives that are marketed to us 24/7. Society has advanced much faster than our brains have evolved. We are not equipped to fight against thousands of temptations created by the most brilliant engineers and marketers in the world. They understand our brains better than we do. They know exactly how to hack our dopamine reward system, keeping us wanting more and more and more. In this unbalanced fight, relying on your individual willpower is like bringing a wooden shield to a machine gun fight. You might hold out for a little while, but failure is inevitable. So if willpower isn't the answer, what is? Benjamin Hardy points to a giant that we often overlook, a force that shapes us more powerfully than any resolution. And this is where we get to the core of today's video. There's a quote from the philosopher Marshall McLuhan that I absolutely love. We don't know who discovered water, but we're pretty sure it wasn't a fish. A fish lives in water, breathes in water, and moves through the water. Water is everything to it, so much so that it no longer recognizes that the water is even there. We are just like that fish, and our water is our environment. Your environment isn't just the house you live in or the city you're from. It's everything that surrounds you, the people you interact with daily, the information you consume online, the books you read, the shows you watch, the food in your fridge, the layout of your desk, and even the apps on your phone's home screen. We have a tendency to overestimate our own role and vastly underestimate the impact of our environment. We think, I'm the product of my own choices. That's true, but it's only half the story. The more important question is, what influenced those choices in the first place? Benjamin Hardy tells a classic and slightly cruel experiment about fleas that illustrates this perfectly. Scientists placed a group of fleas into a glass jar. At first, with no lid, the fleas, with their natural ability, easily jumped right out. Then, the scientists placed a clear glass lid on top of the jar. The fleas kept jumping, but this time, they kept hitting their heads on the lid. It was painful and uncomfortable. Slowly but surely, they learned a lesson. They began to adjust their jumps, only going high enough to avoid hitting the lid. They had adapted to their new environment. And here's the most incredible part. After 3 days, the scientists removed the lid. What do you think happened? Not a single flea jumped out of the jar anymore. Even though the physical barrier was gone, an invisible psychological barrier had been created. The lid had become an unwritten rule in the collective consciousness of the fleas. They were imprisoned by their old environment. What does this story make you think about? How many invisible lids have we placed on our own lives because of our environment? Maybe you grew up in a family that always said, it's best to play it safe, so you never dared to dream big. Maybe you work in a company where everyone is content to just clock in and clock out, and the fire of passion inside you slowly starts to fade. Maybe you hang out with a group of friends who only complain about life, and you slowly become a pessimistic person without even realizing it. The legendary speaker Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a psychological truth. We are like social chameleons, unconsciously absorbing the attitudes, beliefs, and habits of those around us. If you want to lose weight, but your fridge is always stocked with ice cream, soda, and junk food, how long can your willpower really last? If you want to focus on your work, but your phone buzzes with a new notification every 5 minutes, how much focus will you have left? If you want to live a positive life, but scroll through a newsfeed filled with negativity, arguments, and drama every day, can your soul truly be at peace? This is the biggest lesson the book delivers. Your failure isn't because you're weak. Your failure is because you're fighting on the wrong battlefield. You are trying to change yourself while remaining in an environment that is designed to pull you back. It's like trying to swim upstream against a powerful current. You can struggle for a while, but sooner or later, the current will sweep you away. So if the environment is this powerful, are we just its helpless victims? Benjamin Hardy's answer is a resounding no. We can't control the river, but we can absolutely choose to swim in a different current or even build our own dam. And this is the core, hopeful message of the book. Instead of trying to change yourself, change your environment. Become an architect of your life, intentionally designing an environment that supports the goals you crave. When you shape your environment will shape you in the way you want. This is no longer a battle of willpower. It's a game of wisdom. And in the next part, we're going to learn exactly how to become master architects. All right, we've clearly understood the problem. Willpower is an exhausted soldier, and the environment is an invisible giant. Now it's time for the most exciting part. How do we tame this giant? Benjamin Hardy offers many practical strategies, and today, Booksmart Insights has distilled the 5 most fundamental and powerful ones that you can apply immediately. Strategy 1, establish your sanctuaries. Separate your focus and recovery environments. This is a mistake that 99% of us make. We live in a state of limbo, never truly 100% focused when we work, and never truly 100% relaxed when we rest. When we're working, our minds are scattered by dozens of notifications, emails, and messages. We try to multitask, thinking we're being productive, but we're actually just frantically and superficially switching our attention. When we rest, what do? We grab our phones, scroll through social media, binge watch entire seasons of shows, play games. We think we're de-stressing, but in reality, our brains are still being overstimulated. Even worse, when we finally lie down to rest, we carry all our worries and anxieties about unfinished work with us. This limbo life will burn you out, slowly but surely. You'll constantly feel tired and exhausted without knowing why. Hardy's solution is incredibly simple, yet powerful. Create 2 separate and sacred environments. First, the high-focus sanctuary. This is where you put yourself in a state of positive stress. This is the excitement and challenge of facing an important task. In this environment, you must eliminate all distractions. Physical design. Your desk should only contain things related to your current task. Turn off all notifications on your computer and phone. Put your phone in another room, or at least out of sight. Time design. Use methods like the Pomodoro technique. Work for 25 minutes, rest for 5. Or time blocking, allocating fixed blocks of time for specific tasks. During that time, you commit 100% to doing nothing else. You flip the work switch on, and it's only about work. When you work in an environment designed for deep focus, you'll be amazed at your productivity. You can accomplish this in 3 to 4 hours of deep work, which used to take 8 hours of limbo work. Second, the maximum recovery haven. This is when you completely flip the work switch off. This environment must be a place that helps you truly recharge and reconnect with yourself. And let me repeat, scrolling social media is not recovery. Disconnect. This is the most crucial element. Set aside periods of time. It could be in the evenings, on weekends, or during regular trips where you completely disconnect from work and digital devices. Healing activities. Instead of seeking stimulation, seek stillness. Read a physical book, write in a journal, take a walk in the park, meditate, listen to instrumental music, have a deep conversation with a loved one. The author places a particularly strong emphasis on journaling. Writing isn't just about recording events. Writing is a form of therapy. When you write down your thoughts, emotions, goals, fears, you are untangling your mind. You are having a dialogue with yourself on a deeper level. This is when brilliant ideas emerge, when you realize the true meaning of your life. When you can clearly separate these two environments, you will live a more intentional life. You'll work hard and you'll play hard. You'll experience the state of flow in your work and peak experiences in your life, moments where you feel fully alive and brimming with potential. Strategy 2. Weed your mental garden. Remove conflicting elements. If your environment is full of weeds that cause internal conflict, then no matter how many good seeds you try to plant, they will struggle to grow. Become a diligent gardener for your own life. Remove physical temptations. This is the golden rule from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Make bad habits difficult and good habits easy. Want to eat healthy? Stop buying cookies, soda, and junk food. Instead, keep fruit, yogurt, and nuts in the most visible places. Want to read before bed instead of scrolling on your phone? Charge your phone in the living room and place a captivating book right on your pillow. Want to exercise in the morning? Lay out your workout clothes the night before and place them right next to your bed. The principle here is, don't rely on willpower. Design your environment so that the right choice becomes the easiest choice. Simplify your life. The Japanese minimalist expert Fumio Sasaki points out that owning too many things doesn't just take up physical space, it takes up mental space. Every item demands your attention. Choosing it, maintaining it, cleaning it. Look at your closet. How many clothes have you not worn in the past year? Look at your kitchen. How many gadgets have you only used once? Declutter. Give away, sell, or throw out what you don't truly need. A clean, organized living space leads to a clean, serene mind. The less clutter in your environment, the more energy you have to focus on what truly matters. Strategy 3. Draw the map of your life. Set upper and lower bounds. A life without limits isn't freedom, it's chaos. Limits are like the banks of a river. They provide direction and power. Upper bounds. These are the red lines you do not allow yourself to cross. Examples: I will not work past 9 p.m. I will not spend more than 30 minutes a day on social media. I will not spend more than X dollars per month on new clothes. Upper bounds protect you from burnout, addiction, and wastefulness. Lower bounds. These are the minimum commitments you must fulfill to maintain growth. Examples: I will read at least 10 pages of a book every day. I will exercise at least 3 times a week. I will have at least one complete, phone-free dinner with my family each week. Lower bounds ensure that you are always moving forward, even if it's just with small steps. Setting these limits isn't about being rigid or boring. It's an act of self-care. It helps you clearly define the life you want, instead of being passively pushed around by life. When you have limits, your core priorities will automatically become clear. Strategy 4. Rebuild your council. Be proactive with your social environment. This might be the toughest strategy, but it's also one of the most impactful. As Jim Rohn said, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Identify and set boundaries. Take an honest look at your relationships. Who are the people who always leave you feeling energized and inspired? Who are the people that, after every conversation, leave you feeling drained, negative, and doubtful of yourself? For those who give you positive energy, intentionally spend more time with them. Learn from them. For the energy vampires, you need to set boundaries. This doesn't mean you cut them off completely, especially if they're family. It means you limit your time with them. You don't engage in their cycles of complaining and negativity, and most importantly, don't try to change them. The best way to influence them is to be a shining example of positivity and growth yourself. Actively seek out mentors. The speaker Dan Sullivan has a wonderful quote: "Surround yourself with people who remind you more of your future than your past." The modern world allows us to connect without limits. Join communities, study groups, or clubs that share your interests. Find yourself a mentor, someone who has already walked the path and achieved what you desire. Join mastermind groups, where people with similar goals gather to support, push, and give honest feedback to one another. Your social environment is either fertile soil or a barren desert for the seeds of your goals. Choose your soil wisely. Strategy 5. Preempting self-sabotage. Create an if-then plan. Life is full of variables. There will be times when you're tired and stressed, and old habits will come back to tempt you. Instead of passively waiting for that to happen, plan ahead. This is called an implementation intention, and it uses a simple formula. If situation X happens, then I will do action Y. This formula is like a pre-programmed script for your brain, helping you overcome moments of weakness without needing to rely on willpower. Examples: if I feel bored and want to pick up my phone to scroll Facebook, then I will stand up, get a glass of water, and drink all of it. If a coworker offers me a piece of cake, then I will smile and say, "Thank you, that looks delicious, but I'm not eating sweets right now." If I feel the urge to smoke a cigarette, then I will take out a pen and paper and write down how I'm feeling for 5 minutes. Action Y doesn't have to be something monumental. It just needs to be an alternative action that breaks the automatic chain reaction of the old habit. More importantly, this if-then strategy also helps you prepare for bigger setbacks. Example: if I don't win contract A by the end of this month, then I will spend one day analyzing the entire process, identify 3 lessons learned, and then create a plan for contract B. Anticipating risks and having a response plan ready will help you stay mentally strong, turning failure into a stepping stone instead of a cliff. You are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are a strategist who always has a plan B. These 5 strategies, creating sanctuaries, weeding your mental garden, drawing your map, rebuilding your counsel, and creating if-then plans, are the toolkits of a life architect. They don't require extraordinary willpower. They require intention, awareness, and a commitment to designing a superior environment. Once you've built a solid environmental foundation, that's not the end point. It's the starting point. A good architect doesn't just build a house and leave it. They constantly maintain, upgrade, and improve it. Benjamin Hardy calls this the process of constant upgrading. First, always play in a higher league. Imagine you're a boxer. If you only fight opponents who are weaker than you, you'll always win, but you'll never get better. The only way to improve is to step into the ring with opponents who are slightly better than you. It's the same in life. Intentionally put yourself in environments with higher standards. Set goals that put you in competition with people you admire. Not to win or lose, but to learn and be pulled up. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Find a different room where you can learn from people who are better than you. Second, learning must be paired with action. Knowledge only becomes power when it's applied. Reading books or watching videos from Booksmart Insights is a fantastic start, but it becomes meaningless if you don't turn those ideas into concrete actions in your life. Every time you learn something new, ask yourself, how will I apply this to my life today? True transformation only happens through action. Third, don't rest on your laurels. Humans are incredibly adaptable creatures. When you achieve a goal, the feeling of joy doesn't last forever. You'll quickly get used to it. This is the time to experience positive dissatisfaction. This isn't about being ungrateful or discontent. It's about having a hunger to reach higher, expand your vision, and discover your own hidden potential. Don't let today's success become the cage that traps tomorrow's growth. And finally, I want to share a profound idea from the end of the book, something we often overlook. It's important to understand your roots. Researchers have found a surprising truth. Children who know more about their family history, about the struggles, the triumphs, the stories of their parents and grandparents, tend to have higher levels of happiness, better self-esteem, and a greater sense of control over their lives. Why is that? Because knowing where you come from gives you a sense of belonging, a deeper connection. It helps you understand that you are part of a larger story. When you know what hardships your grandparents overcame and what sacrifices your parents made, you gain strength, humility, and gratitude. You understand that your past doesn't limit you, but it gives you a foundation to stand on. And if you succeed, you'll understand that your success isn't yours alone. It's a continuation of the efforts of those who came before you. So we've gone on quite a journey together, exploring the core ideas of Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy. The final message I want to leave with you, my friends at Booksmart Insights, is simple. Stop blaming yourself. Stop fighting the futile war of willpower. You are not weak. You are not undisciplined. It's possible you've just been playing a game with the wrong rules on a board that was designed for you to lose. It's time to change the game. It's time for you to realize that your true power doesn't lie in forcing yourself, but in designing. You are the architect of your life. Every small decision about what you put in your fridge, who you follow on social media, who you spend your time with, how you arrange your desk, these are all the bricks that build the house of your future. This journey doesn't demand perfection. There will be times when you stumble, but now you know that instead of beating yourself up, you just need to look at your environment and ask, which brick can I adjust to make the next step easier? This is a revolutionary shift in mindset. It frees us from the burden of guilt and gives us the power of a creator. Thank you for spending your time with me all the way to the very end. If you found this video helpful, if it gave you a helpful lesson, please share it with the people you care about. And now, I have a question for you. After hearing all of this, what is the one smallest change you will make to your environment this week? It could be deleting a social media app, putting a book on your pillow, or getting your gym clothes ready for tomorrow morning. Please share your commitment in the comments section below. Writing it down is the first step to turning an intention into a reality. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And most importantly, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future journeys into knowledge here at Booksmart Insights. Once again, thank you for being here. I wish you a day filled with energy and intention. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.